There are 4 things that you absolutely must do in order to take your video viewers into buyers. And these 4 things are things that I just don't see talked about anywhere near enough. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you these 4 requirements. And I'm also going to share with you the type of video content, specifically my Power 5 video categories, that allow you to make sure that your audience has that sense of psychological safety and certainty so that they feel really, really good going to that checkout page. So first off, if you don't know me, my name is Alex Carmelli. I'm a live video strategist here in Austin, Texas. And for the last 4 years, I've reviewed hundreds of video scripts. I've gone live close to probably 1,000 times at this point for myself. And I think these 4 things that I'm going to talk about in this video are just so incredibly important because I can almost guarantee if your videos are not selling, for example, if you're putting out live video content every week or pre-recorded content, and you have a coach or you have courses or coaching or memberships that you are promoting in there or some other type of digital product, if your videos are not doing the job, one of these 4 things are missing, or maybe a bunch of these or all of these 4 things are missing. So let's talk about why viewers are not buying. Here's what needs to happen in their brain in order for them to craft this psychological safety so they can move forward. So number 1 is they have to feel so confident that you are the right person. They have to like you as a person. They have to like your values, the way you communicate, who you are, just those things. And this really isn't like a light bulb moment you're probably going to have. Everybody on the internet's like, you got to cultivate KLT, that know, love, and trust. So probably not a huge aha moment, but that is something that is super important. They have to really like you as a person. The second thing that your video content needs to be able to do is it needs to be able to show why your solution is the right solution for them. They have to be sure that what you are going to be sharing with them works. After that, number 3, they need to be able to have that sense of surety that your solution is going to work for them and their uniqueness and all of their special quirks and unique things about them and their circumstance, right? So for example, in my Video Skills Lab membership, my $9 a month Video Skills Lab membership, where basically I teach you how to do everything related to getting out weekly video content, right? And for someone to join that membership, even though it's only $9, right? They have to know me and like me as a person. They have to know, hey, I want to do video content. That's the solution. I want to do weekly lives. And then they have to understand, hey, why do lives work specifically for me? Because all the time I have people like, for example, let's say you have a personal training business and you're like, well, I do low ticket, private group sessions and it's only for people who have these certain types of injuries, and it has to line up with my insurance. So like, I'm just making this up, but the point is like, people are going to have a million reasons why your solution might not fit exactly 100%, even though you're like, yeah, of course it fits. Of course it's going to work. Like, duh, it's going to work. Right. So again, they have to like you, know you. They have to understand this. This is the solution. They have to say, okay, this is the solution and it works for me. And then lastly, they have to have trust in themselves. This is the toughest one for so many. They have to trust in themselves that they are going to take action if they buy. How many times have you the viewer bought something and then never took action on it, or just signed up for too many things at once and then, never implemented it, or you joined a coaching program and didn't take action because you were nervous or something didn't just hit home quite the way you wanted it to, and you dragged your feet, whatever it is. No shame in that, but it is our job to understand that is what's going on. There's so many options available for people that they are investing and they are having negative experiences where they don't take action and then they lose that trust in themselves. So it's up to us to build that trust back. So I hope that you're seeing how these 4 things that I just talked about come together And if one of those things is missing, yeah, you're dang right. Like someone's not going to go and buy. If they don't trust themselves to take action, yeah, they're not going to go buy. If they don't see how your specific product, service, whatever doesn't directly apply to their unique circumstances, of course they're not going to buy. If they don't like you as a person, they're not going to. It's all of those things. We got to hit those 4 things in our video strategy. And this is where the Power 5 videos come into play. So I'm going to share my screen because your content every month needs to incorporate these 5 categories. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And you can see this content brainstorm chart. This is a chart I'm stealing from my Video Skills Lab membership. And basically, in this chart, I'll make it a little bigger. You can see these 5, you can see these 5 categories right here. This is kind of an extra if you have other ideas outside of it. But these right here are the main 5. And the idea is we're going to systematically address each one of those 4 things that I just talked about. So the first category is the trending now category. This is where we talk about why now and what's going on in your industry, that your solution is just so incredibly important. So we talked about earlier how, one of the criteria you have to satisfy to turn a viewer into a buyer is they need to understand why the solution works. Why shouldn't they go and do something else? Why does it matter right now in 2025, right? Why does it matter, in this setting? What trends are you observing? What patterns are you observing? So that's that first type of video content. We want to have some kind of videos that are going on that. Next type of video content we want to have is busting bad belief content. This is where you are basically debunking all of the BS that people believe in your industry. For example, for people to come into the Video Skills Lab membership, some of the bad beliefs they have are, I need a huge audience to start going live. I need to already have my offer worked out before I go live. I need to have really fancy tech to go live. All of that's BS. It is my responsibility to create content that debunks that stuff, that says, no, you don't need that. And actually, here's what you should be doing instead, right? So we got to make sure that we are, busting people's bad beliefs. Next up, we've got case studies. This is probably my favorite one and probably one of the most important ones we've got on here. This is where you are giving real examples of students and clients and customers that you have helped. For example, I could do a live and say, here's how I helped my student go from never terrified of being on camera to booking out her services in 90 days using this one simple live video strategy. All right. So what you should notice there is I've got the before, I've got the after, and I've got the unique strategy or tool we're using that I then go and explain in the video. So it's not this boring testimonial video where I'm like, oh, Alex is so great, blah, blah, blah. No, we are teaching. And as you are teaching, one, your brilliance should shine, but also you are highlighting the results you get for people. And this is your opportunity to kind of move people past that criteria that we talked about earlier, where people need to know what applies to their unique circumstances. So if I give an example of a dog trainer who was, burning through tons of time on sales calls and was terrified to get on camera, and another dog trainer or another pet trainer or another person in the service industry who has a similar problem sees that and they're like, oh man, this is exactly my situation. They're not going to wonder, does this solution work for me, right? It's going to satisfy that criteria. Okay, next up, we got the vulnerable share / behind the scenes. This is where you are sharing a bit about you. You're also could be sharing things you're working on, and all of it is to again, you're sharing about you, but the point is to bring and highlight lessons that the viewer can take away and just have these aha moments. So for example, I could share how during my, some of my first lives, I was so nervous and I would sit on the couch. This was during COVID with this pillow on my lap, and my iPhone was cracked at the time too. No stores were open, so I wasn't able to get it fixed. And that's how I did my first lives. And doing that consistently, I ended up selling my first high ticket client at the time when I was brand new to social media and just figuring all this stuff out. Okay. So this is important because, again, remember earlier when we talked about the 4 things you need to do, we need to make sure we cultivate that know, love, trust, and this is how they get to know you and see like where you learned the things that you did and why you are the person that you are. Okay, lastly, we've just straight up got the offer videos. This is where you're talking about your solution. This is where you are sharing about how great your offer is. And again, when we think about that criteria I talked about earlier, people have to believe that solution works for them. They have to know how good it is and why it's more competitive than anything else that is out there. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up because I want to try to keep this short and sweet, but I hope what you're getting from this is that for your audience, if you have an engaged audience that's tuning into your videos and they are not converting, one of those 4 things we talked about is missing. It could be number 1, that they don't know, love, and trust you. It could be number 2, that they don't believe your solution is the solution for them. It could be number 3, where they believe the solution works, but they don't see how it applies to them. Or number 4, they don't trust themselves to take action. So make sure when you're creating your content, think about those Power 5 categories and how it helps to make sure we are addressing those 4 things I mentioned, right? And I want to just encourage you to stop feeling like you have to constantly entertain and come up with new and exciting things, and instead focus on getting people unstuck. Focus on saying your message in a lot of different ways to hit home with the people who are wanting to move forward, but just feel like things are getting in their way. All right, before I let you go, if you want me to give you a copy of this content brainstorm chart along with a short little training that goes even deeper into these Power 5 categories, comment Power 5 on this video and I will make sure to